Before you buy a rental, you need to know one thing. Does it make you money? Today I'll show you exactly how to figure that out with no fancy formulas and no spreadsheets. For those new here, welcome. I'm Joe. I've been investing in real estate for close to 4 years now. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel if you want to learn exactly how to build a monster passive income stream. Let's not waste any more time and let's dive right in. So first we have to identify the role of a rental property. What does it do for you? I think it's as simple as this. A rental property creates economic freedom for you and your family so you can live out your dreams, control your time, and do whatever it is you want to do on planet Earth. So this economic freedom from your rentals comes in the form of cash flow, which is income minus expenses, but also by appreciation, building equity, and many tax benefits. So step one, once you've found that home from your real estate agent, Zillow, Opendoor, wherever it is you found it, you need to identify how much rental income it's going to bring in every single month. And step one is crucial so you can buy a property that is cash flow positive. So here's a quick pro tip. My advice is to purchase properties in B or C plus neighborhoods. If you do this, you'll likely see better appreciation on the home. You'll see better school districts. You'll often see lower crime rates in these neighborhoods. A good rule of thumb is, would you and your family feel comfortable living in that rental property? If the answer is no, I wouldn't purchase it. And maybe that's even your strategy. Maybe your plan is to live in that property for a year or two and then turn it into a rental. That's my plan because you get better financing that way. These B and C neighborhoods also attract better tenants who are going to take much better care of your property, so that way you pay less in maintenance down the line and you have less headaches. Trust me on this one. So once you've found that rental home that you're interested in, go to Rentometer. I'm not sponsored by Rentometer, not yet. It is just a helpful tool that I use, and there you'll find exactly how much rent that you'll make per month. All you have to do is put in the address of that rental. And here I'll use my single family rental as an example in Florida. From my experience, Rentometer is pretty spot on, and you can feel pretty confident using the median numbers that they provide. If you want to ensure that those numbers are correct, you can also contact a local property manager. They have a lot of skin in the game. They understand how these markets work, and just ask them, how much do they think that rental would rent for in today's environment? Now, there are other ways that you can make income from your rental properties. Maybe it's a storage unit or a laundry unit. But for this example, let's keep it simple. Let's just use the income from the rent. For this example, let's say that we're interested in purchasing a $300,000 home that rents for $2,500 every single month. And now that we have our income, $2,500, we need to figure out our expenses to see if it cash flows. So step two is figuring out what your expenses are. And we'll keep it simple in this example. Your first and largest expense is going to be that mortgage payment. Your mortgage payment's made up of the principal plus the interest. You'll get that from your mortgage broker, but you can also use free online calculators. And in this example, let's say your mortgage payment's $1,750 per month. The next expense is taxes, and in this example, we'll use $250 per month. The person clearly lives in a low tax state. And then the last expense that I have on here is insurance at $200 per month. So right now we're at $2,200 in expenses, but it's important to note that there are more expenses that could come your way in the form of property management, repairs, but these numbers are going to be different for everyone. If the home is a new build and you manage it yourself, your monthly expenses are going to be less, right? So you can tailor it to your needs. I'll put a list here of some of the most popular expenses that people pay for, but in this example, let's keep it simple and stick to just mortgage payment, taxes, and insurance. So we're keeping it simple. At this point, we have $2,500 in rental income, minus $2,200 in expenses, and that equals $300 per month in pure cash flow. We love pure cash flow. It buys freedom. The more pure cash flow you have, the more time you have to spend with your family, travel, whatever it is you want to do, you can get there with pure cash flow. So at this point, we found the home, we figured out how much we're going to get in rent, we figured out how much we're going to pay in expenses, and we found what our pure cash flow number is, $300 per month. So how do we compare this to other rentals? How do we know if this is a good deal? Let me introduce cash on cash returns. So step 4 is figuring out our cash on cash return. And to do this, it's very simple. You take your yearly pure cash flow number, you divide that by the amount of cash you have invested in this deal, which is your down payment plus your closing costs, and you're gonna get a number. So in this example with our $300,000 home, we'll say that it's $70,000 between closing costs and down payment. Next, we'll figure out how much our annual pure cash flow is. That's very simple. Take our $300 per month, multiply it by 12, and we get $3,600 every single year in pure cash flow. We take that $3,600, we divide it by 70,000, and we get a 5% cash on cash return. You can then use the cash on cash return metric to analyze other deals. And generally, you want to look for a higher cash on cash return with one caveat. There's markets like Seattle, New York, Boston. Those markets are built for appreciation, long-term appreciation. Markets in the Ohio, right, Pennsylvania, the Midwest, a lot of those cash flow very well, but they don't appreciate. I like to find a mix of both, and there are markets out there. Now, let me be real with all of you. A 5% cash on cash return is not great. Most real estate investors aim for about 10%, but in my opinion, if you can find a rental property that has strong cash flow or even breaks even right now, even, then it might be worth purchasing and pulling the trigger on. And I'll tell you why. With inflation, your rental payments are only going to go up over time. Your house is only going to appreciate over time, and the tax benefits that you get from owning real estate are just tremendous. Also, you can refinance later and lower your monthly expenses. It might be worth it if you find a 5% cash on cash return to pull the trigger. Now, once you pull the trigger and buy that rental property, it's time to reap all those benefits: appreciation, loan pay down, tax benefits, so much more. Buying rental properties is the best way to retire early with cash flow. And that's it. 5 minutes. You have all the tools to go make it happen. Now go do it. Scared money don't make money. Well, be smart about it. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoy this kind of content, follow along for more. We're just getting started here at Dividends Indoors. Thank you all so much, and I'm out.